Hello, everybody, and today on the Mike Lee Show, we're talking with the legendary powerhouse vocalist and queen of Def Jam Records. You remember her. She was the very first artist to be signed on Def Jam. You'll know her best for her single, Just Call My Name. She has a brand new single out, though, now called Summer Nights in Harlem. Please help me welcome the one and only Miss Alyson Williams. Alyson, how are you?
I am so good. If I was any better, they'd come and arrest me. You're not supposed, it's illegal to be, in this time right now, it's illegal to be this good.
I know this good. You look beautiful.
Thank you so much.
You
Thank
look
you.
beautiful.
And
Both
you're
of
looking
you look beautiful. You
handsome
got
and fat.
you in the background.
You like my little background?
I
Yeah, she
loved her. Yeah, baby. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Blonde hair and all.
mm-hmm.
We talked earlier this year. Earlier this year, you and I interviewed on Sister to Sister platform.
In the
Uh,
height of the COVID,
in
I
the
want to
height
thank
of the
you
COVID. Yes.
because when
Yeah.
it was so difficult for people just to get up and live from day to day,
Yeah.
I was able to um, be a
Yeah.
creative and continue to be an artist that someone wanted to hear from. And you, and shout out to Jamie
Jamie Foster,
for allowing me to come on your platform
Aurora. Yeah.
and be
Yeah.
relative. And now that we're here, several months later,
Yeah.
still making it happen.
Mm. Well,
Yeah,
we're
that was
almost.
fun. That was fun.
That
I
was
was
so
in
much
another.
fun.
I was not. I was in another living room setting. We were sequestered and quarantining at home at that time,
Yeah.
and we
Yeah.
made it work, and we had a great
Yeah,
old
you
time.
looked even fabulous then, fashionista. Since then, you've released this incredible song called "Summer Nights in Harlem." What brought you back to jazz?
Well, Mike, I come from a jazz background,
Hmm.
and I speak on it all the time. A lot of my colleagues and peers, they came up in the church or they came up in R&B. I came up in jazz.
Hmm.
And it was a whole nother animal. And it's something that I've always wanted to get back to. But timing is everything. And this seems to be the time. And everything is a process. And I've known that about my cipher all of my life. Nothing happens just because or just at the moment. It takes time. And I was approached by a young man by the name of Maurice Lynch, who came to me with some wonderful songs in pursuit of staging and mounting a musical review, Harlem Musical Review, Harlem Renaissance Musical Review. And he had been told by a mutual friend who happened to be his cousin, who happened to be a gentleman that I had traveled across the country with as a stage manager. His name is Mike Lynch. Shout out to Mike Lynch out there in Detroit.
Like
And
Linda.
Mike said to Maurice, if you need to find someone that sings jazz, you need to find Alyson Williams. And he came and he found me in the most unlikely place. And he put forth these two songs. And I knew immediately that these were the songs that I needed. And I said to him, I'll be in your show. I'll sing your songs. It doesn't matter. You must allow me to record these songs and allow them to have a secondary life. In other words, a platform on their own as a recorded project. And I heard the music and I heard the arrangements and I heard the strings and the horns and the background vocals. And I knew that this was the music that was going to take me to that place in my soul. You know what I'm saying? Back to the Nancy Wilson, the Carmen McRae, the Ella Fitzgerald, the Joe Williams, the artists that I had grown up listening to. And as we agreed to come together as co-producers, he produced the music and
Hmm.
I produced the personnel. So I was able to call on Christian McBride, Christian Sands, Ulysses Owens, Ron Blake,
Hmm.
Kirk Whalum, Ray Chu,
Wow.
Solomon Hicks, Ty Stevens and Don Tallman, Greg Sneed, just the best of the best in the jazz world and beyond. And what you hear on Summer Nights in Harlem and the Romance of You reflects just that kind of quality and excellence. And I had to get back to it because it is my love. I'm not saying that I don't appreciate what R&B has done for me. I'm a jazz singer that was signed to a rap label and given an R&B contract.
Mm.
Um, uh,
Wow.
Jokingly, I always say I'm the Forrest Gump of what I do because I've been all those places and didn't even
Hmm.
realize I was there or
Right. Right.
why. those doors were opened. But I knew I had to get back to the thing that I love, which is jazz music. And this offered me a chance to put what I call, or what we like to call, new school standards into
Mhm.
the world. We pay homage to the Great American Songbook and to all those great singers and great music and those great arrangers and orchestra leaders. But now we've done it with songs that hopefully 10 and 20 years from now, another singer, another musician will want to add this to their repertoire.
Mhm.
Like we love a Misty and a Funny Valentine and I Wish You Love and all those great songs. And I know that we have that. I know that we have that. So that's what took me back. It was the longing to do it, the thinking and putting it into the universe, and then the universe, along with God's favor and blessings and
Mm.
mercies, bringing the people together that we would need to make this come into fruition.
I want to ask the question of when you got the track, did you produce the vocal? Because what I hear, no one could sit in the studio and go, "Oh, do this, do this, do this." You, it sounds just if you just took that song, man,
Well,
and said, "Boom." You know
this
what I
is
mean?
what the beauty of the music is. Maurice Lynch wrote beautiful music, but
Hmm.
oddly enough, Maurice Lynch is a church boy. So
Hmm.
if you could have heard the original versions of these songs, they were very different in terms of the presentation.
Hmm.
But what I've known all my life and the music that have has coursed through my veins is how to interpret this type of music, and that's what made us so good together as producer and songstress, is that he could lay down a basic foundation and I could take it to the next level.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like the way we repeat at the end, that's a gospel thing.
Mm,
You
yeah.
know what I'm saying? And it went on 3 or 4 times. I was like, Maurice, we can't do a reprise 4 times. We can't do an altar call. We got to get the in and
Altar
out.
call.
But we can
Right.
give them just that amount of soulfulness
Hmm.
that you want,
Hmm.
that takes you to the very end. You know what I'm saying? And when people hear
Exactly.
the song, they'll get
They'll
what I'm saying.
understand exactly because
So
I know.
he allowed me to have the freedom that I knew was part of my root.
Mm.
He didn't stop me. He said, listen, I wanted to sound something like this, or can you give me a that? And can you give me a this? And I produced that and this. And it just came together like a beautiful
Yeah.
dream.
It did.
It just came together. The,
Yes.
the 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 parts all worked. The vocal arrangement, Ray Chu's incredible strings, and I knew he was the one that was going to give me the bloop 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 bloop. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Those
Yeah.
beautiful accents,
Beautiful. Yeah.
of
Yeah.
string and oboe and clarinet and just you don't
Classic
hear it. You
sounds.
don't
Yes.
hear it. You don't
Yeah.
hear
Yeah.
it these days. And I wanted to fill that void because there are a lot of incredible singers out here. Everyone was given a gift, but we needed a feel good music. We needed a love song. We needed somebody to sing to us, or
Yes.
not for us and not at us,
Yes. Especially during this time. Yes.
especially. And
Yes.
we had no idea this time was coming,
Yeah.
but we were going by ordered and divine steps. And
Mm.
that's what happens when you follow that road. You get what you need right at the time you need it.
Absolutely. Let's talk about the root. You truly are what I consider music royalty. As you come from music, tell us about your father, Mr. Bobby Booker, and how he influenced you as an artist.
Well, my both my parents were show business people, but my mother, out of I guess the desire and the necessity to do what she needed to do, she had 2 daughters. I am the youngest, 10 year younger than
Mhm.
my sibling Verna, and she turned her world into nursing, and she became a registered nurse. But she had been an actress and a dancer and a
Mm.
singer,
Wow.
so that was not a hard sell. And my father, being a jazz trumpet player, um, uh, that was just kind of I guess, a natural progression when they noticed that I had a the desire to
Hmm.
follow in that down that journey, take a journey down that path. They nurtured it. You
Mm.
know, jazz and big band jazz was what was played in the house, along with a myriad of other things. Dance was a part of my background, and at a very young age, when Arthur Mitchell was at the Church of the Masters before Dance Theater of Harlem, I was one of his students.
Mhm.
And then time passed, and they came up with that brick and mortar school, and I went back and I was a scholarship student, and I excelled into the junior company, and I studied with Ailey, and I studied with Marie Brooks and Frank Hatchett and Chuck Davis, LaRock Bay, all the, I went through the steps.
Mhm.
And of course, theater and arts were all there. So the stage performance and all of that was there. And I'm just thankful that my parents didn't try to hold me back. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? They had their fears and they wanted to protect me and make sure that I came through it, the right way. But
Mhm.
they never stopped me. They never said, no, you can't do this. Of course, they said, have something to fall back on. I wanted to take French. They said, no, Spanish. It's the new thing.
Mm.
Where's the first place I ended up was in France. I was so mad. I was so done. Like I could have been speaking the
Wow.
language, but it came together.
Yeah.
It came together.
Yeah.
But yeah, my father and my mother were both great influences, and all of their friends. You have to understand, my father's friends were Clark Terry and Louis Armstrong and Dizzy Gillespie, and I met Miles Davis for the first time. He scared me to death. I ran him straight out the dressing room.
Mm.
He was deep.
Mhm.
I
Wow.
was one of those kids that you see backstage at a performance or at a jazz festival, and my dad's friends had candy in one pocket and money in the other, and
Mhm.
stories. And the women were all the girls who danced at the Cotton Club and had
Mm.
been,
Wow.
singers, and they taught me things,
Mhm.
and they poured positivity into my life, and they made me believe that I could do anything I wanted to. And
Mm.
it was great because I came as an oops baby. And when I say oops baby, I mean I was 10 years, out of, they never saw it coming. So I was around a lot of mature people. Do
Mm.
you know what I'm saying?
I
I
do.
had a group of friends, obviously, that were my schoolmates and what have you. But in terms of what I did on a daily basis was grown folks. So I was around grown folks,
Mhm.
and they praised me, and they nurtured me, and they told me the stories, and they were griots for me. And then when I got with my peers, it was always a struggle because I didn't understand
Absolutely.
what their deal was. I was a victim of a lot of bullying and other things that I'll say for the book. But
Mhm.
I never knew a reason why I shouldn't dress a certain way, or I didn't think I had to have a certain kind of sneaker to fit in. And it
Mhm.
doesn't matter whether I was dark skinned or light skinned, or
Mhm.
how long my hair was or not. And these are the things I had to deal with when I
Mhm.
got around children my own age. So it was really frustrating. So my music and my dance and my theater, they were my escape.
Escape.
They
Wow.
were my way of saying, God, please get me out of this, because every day I got to deal with this kind
Mhm.
of madness. And
Mhm.
I didn't understand why. I didn't understand jealousy. I didn't understand how kids could be, because I was around grown-ups all the time.
Right. And your family were just nurturing you in love. So that's all you
Absolutely.
need, love.
Absolutely. My
Music.
my my
Yeah.
my milestones and my the platforms that were of a positive, you win. My wins were wins, not, ooh, you think you cute.
Right.
My
Exactly.
wins were wins.
Yes.
If I knew the answer to a question, I didn't have a fear of raising my hand and
Mm.
having a full out explanation of what it was. I didn't
Mhm.
have, you can tell I'm a little long winded. Well, I get that
No,
from there.
it's great.
I
Yeah.
get that
We're in an
from there.
interview. I want this. Yes.
Ooh,
Yeah.
but I'm just
Yeah.
saying, I didn't have those issues. And when I when I excelled in school, or when I won a medal, or I did something, everybody was all in for a penny or a pound. But of
Mm.
course, when you get
I love that.
around a less mature mind,
Exactly.
they're going to
Undeveloped.
make you feel, they're going to make, for me, like what a person says they're a computer geek, or a tech geek. I was a nerd
Mm-hmm.
coming up,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
quite shy, and quite, you know, inhibited in
Mhm.
showing my talent, until I was around that other group of folks.
Exactly. where you felt comfortable.
where
Yeah,
I felt comfortable. Do you know what I'm saying?
I
And
do.
and and I, and they got me, and they were like, "Here comes the next one, and this is the we're gonna dress her up, we're gonna make her up, we're gonna do
Mhm.
this, we're gonna teach her a song, we're gonna show her how to play an instrument."
Mhm.
That's what I had all the time.
Wow, that's beautiful.
And when I didn't have it, it was absolutely devastating. So it
That's a
was it was it was like living a dual life. And I would pray to God. I said, God, if you could just I remember it's funny. I said, can we
Mhm.
live in the village? Can you make us have to move to the village? Because in the village, people seemed free.
Mm.
People seemed free, and it didn't matter what color you were, and you could wear
Mhm.
stripes with polka dots, and it didn't
Mhm.
matter if you had pro-kids or if you had skips. I just felt like that.
Mhm.
And
The
that,
freedom to be
like I
yourself.
said, I
Yeah.
just wanted to be free.
Yeah, yeah. What people may not know about you is that you laid the foundation for one of hip hop's popular labels, founded by Russell Simmons and Def Jam Recording. When you think back on your career, what does it mean to you to be the first artist, female, to blaze the trail for so many that would come behind you, like Kanye West, Logic, Nas, 2 Chain, Pusha T, Fabulous, Designer, so many. You opened the door for those hit makers. You did.
Well, I didn't do it by myself, but it feels really good to be able to say that I was a part of it. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I met Curtis Blow, very
Mm.
matter
Curtis
of
Blow.
factual, and by chance walking down the street on the campus of City College where I was studying. I had come from Marymount Manhattan College, where I had a great experience in the middle of a this is not for me. And I came up to City College, and just shortly, I'll tell you, I ran into him and I was giving out a flyer, which was my main job. And he said, "You know what I like about you? Most of the people that meet me want me to do something for them.
Mm.
You already have something going on. You just want me to come and support." So through that conversation, Curtis came to know that he had a grown and sexy audience. Grown folks
Mm-hmm.
that appreciated and knew his music, and he didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't know that he had crossed over. So I would take Curtis to McHale's and places like Sweetwater's and places like the Cellar, and
Wow.
he would take me to the Disco Fever.
Wow.
So it was a really dual situation. Curtis and I began to work together, and he had me be his hook girl on songs like Basketball and Fat Boys. Fat Boys Are Back, If I Rule the World, AJ Scratch, and all this iconic rap music before we had the word hip hop in our vernacular.
Mm-hmm.
Before Def Jam, when Def Jam was just a seed and just a thought in Russell's head to make the most dopest, deafest underground label for underground artists, and everybody's gonna love it and we didn't know that it would be a shift in the culture.
Mm. Exactly.
But when it came to be, we laid the cornerstones, we picked the colors, we chose the logo, we were involved with the decision-making process of that. And even before Rick Rubin came into it, it was already a foundation that was laid down.
Mm-hmm.
And Rick came right
Mm.
in the
Wow.
middle of that. Let's be
Mm.
clear
Gotcha. Thank
that
you.
this was already in place
Mm.
when he
Thank you.
showed up.
Mm.
And thank God he did.
Mm-hmm.
We needed all the pieces to the puzzle.
Exactly.
But I'm just letting you know.
I got you. He
There
came
were
after some
there
of the
was
bricks were
Russell
laid.
Simmons, there was
Yeah.
Curtis Blow, who was being managed by Russell. There was Houdini. There was LL Cool J. There was Jekyll and Hyde, and then the R&B arm was Alyson Williams, Orange Juice Jones, Chuck Stanley, and Tayshaun.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? And we
Absolutely.
were all putting this thing together, bit by bit, step by step, almost with blinders on,
Mm-hmm.
only coming with the talents that we had.
Mm-hmm.
And look what it did. What it does for me is knowing that I'm a part of that. I am constantly striving, and especially right now,
Mm-hmm.
going back to my root, being where I am, being the woman that I am, having experienced what I've had to experience. I know that I still have a relevancy
Yes. Yeah.
that dates back, because there's nobody who's 4 or 45 that don't know basketball. There's nobody who's
I rule the
30
world.
or 40 or 60 that don't know If I Rule the World. But
Yeah.
they might know it by Lauryn Hill, but they don't know I sang it first.
That's
And
right.
so whoever lays the foundation holds the crown,
Fat
or
Boy.
has put the jewels in the crown.
You work with the
And
Fat Boys also, didn't you?
the Fat Boys are back. Rapping
Great.
Rodney Dangerfield. You
Yeah.
Gotta Believe I Love Bug Starsky.
It's
All of
crazy.
that.
That's
All of that
amazing.
music. And
Yeah.
that cannot be erased.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to do in this world of social media and street cred and all the other things that they say you need to make it happen. And of course you do. I'm trying to let people know there's a lot of people who understand Just Call My Name and who might even know the whole Raw album and even the second album on Columbia, Alyson
Mm-hmm.
Williams, self-titled with producers like Babyface and Al B.
Mm-hmm.
Shore and what have you, but they don't know the root.
The Root.
And so I've got to I know what my real root is, but the root that took me to where I am is rooted in hip hop. So how do you get a jazz singer that's rooted in hip hop that came through R&B? It's a great story and it's a real story and
Yeah.
it gives any little black boy or black girl or any little
Yeah.
girl or boy period, whether you're
Absolutely.
black, brown, white,
Doesn't
purple or
matter.
polka dot or
Yeah.
stripe, know that you can do what it is that you do and God's giving you a gift and
Mm-hmm.
I can be relevant. But the way it works now is that if I tell these stories, everybody who's looking at a Cardi B or a Jay-Z or Beyonce, they get Alyson Williams because if it hadn't been for an Alyson Williams,
Absolutely.
they couldn't be.
That's right. And that's the truth.
Just like if it hadn't been for Nancy Wilson or Dinah Washington or Carmen McRae, Alyson Williams couldn't be.
Yes. Yes.
Or Gladys Knight, or
Yeah.
Mavis Staple, or Shaka Khan, or Patti LaBelle. I couldn't be without those women. Or Ethel Waters. Go back, Google, I dare you.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we couldn't be. We couldn't walk through the front door of the casino or the nightclub
Mm.
or any of the places where we couldn't even stay, let alone perform. We couldn't lay our heads. We couldn't drink liquor. We couldn't swim in the pool. We couldn't do any of it without those people who laid that foundation. And it's not that far removed from where we are. It
Well, yeah.
seems like it seems like a lifetime ago, but
But it's not.
it was just 20 years from now, they're going to look at this COVID,
Well, we are.
civil unrest,
Yes.
systemic injustice, crazy government, upside down and in the water. They're going to look at that, and it won't be that long ago that it happened.
Yeah.
But we all came through it.
Yeah.
Well, that's what it is for me.
Hmm.
It wasn't that long ago that those women and those men paved the way. And even those who were lynched in trees paved the way for us to be able to be the artists that can walk down a red carpet and pop a bottle and be all that.
Wow. That's incredible. Let's talk about paving the way, which is a great segue because I've got some additional names I want to call. I'm going to call these names and you tell me what you feel, how these people influenced you. Burt Bacharach, Dionne Warwick, Dakota Stanton, Rose, Rose Marie Clooney, Ella Fitzgerald, Earl Father Hines. I want to educate these millennials on who these people were, these groundbreaking artists, and how they influenced you.
Mike, you make me so full.
Mm, mm, mm,
When I was
mm,
growing up and I was a little girl and I'd be in my room singing in the brush handle,
yeah.
there was an
Mm,
album cover in my parents' collection, and it was this beautiful brown skinned woman against a blue background. She was holding herself with a
mm,
beautiful white mink stole, and these beautiful red blazing nails. And I
mm.
said, when I grow up,
I
I
want
want
to
to be like her. And that was Dakota Staten.
Yeah.
As most people might know, His Eyes on the Sparrow and
Yes. Yes.
any of the gospel standards. I knew every song on
Mm.
the Late Late Show album.
Dang.
Every song, and I still know them, and I
Mm,
still keep them in my repertoire. I
mm,
listened to Burt Bacharach and Dionne Warwick
mm,
back and forth and forward and back, and
mm,
Barbara Streisand. Earl
mm,
Father Hines was one of my dad's good friends. He used to have an incredible jam session at
mm,
his house on 134th Street. I
mm.
would go
Wow.
every Sunday, and around the corner from there was the great photographer of his name so full right now,
Mm,
the Renaissance photographer.
mm.
Oh gosh, what is his name? I'll think of it
We'll
before
think
the
of
end of
him
the day.
again. Yeah.
But his studio was right on 7th Avenue and 133rd and 34th, and we would go
Mm-hmm.
there, and every year I'd have my picture taken, my
Mm-hmm.
portrait done. So I came up at the end of what that was. So it's nothing. When you say Earl Father Hines, I know this is an incredible man of the keyboard and keys. I get it, in the organ. I know I met him. I knew who he was and how he would sit in sometime with my dad's band. I get that. So these people, Rosemary Clooney, and people who performed at places like Roseland and what have you, those are the people that influenced me. Women that dressed a certain way and sang a certain way and kept themselves a certain way. Now, I'm not saying everybody wasn't human and didn't have their dark parts, but they always strove to show the best. Not hide, not be fake, but to show the best that they could be.
Wow.
And that's what I got from it. One of the first, like I said, Dakota Staten was in that was there. And then there was Dionne Warwick. What the world needs now. Promises, promises.
Promises,
Alfie is
promises.
still. Alfie is still. Now, but who sings promises, promises? I'm all through with promises, promises now.
It is my favorite song by
Dionne
Warwick. Yeah. Oh.
But that kind of music is what I cut my teeth on. And that kind of music is not easy to sing.
Oh, I would love to hear you sing that. Just your vocal just a moment ago. That was just absolutely stunning. Wow. Yeah, I went to see Dionne Warwick when she was here. And she's getting older, and but her vocal, she just came out. There was no fanfare, no drum beat, no nothing. She just walked out and she just leaned on the piano and she grabbed the mic, and I was just mesmerized. She is truly one of my greatest. I love to hear her sing.
This is what I learned a long time ago. And, I was always one of those people who I didn't wait for my girlfriend or my or boyfriend or somebody to take me somewhere. I was going on my own. I learned
me too. That's
travel
me. Yeah.
light, travel long. And all the things and the opportunities that I've gotten into, whether it's backstage and meeting someone, if I didn't have a whole bunch of people with me, I was good. If I had people, I always ended up with, you left me. Where did you go? Well, you're in a room full of anybody you'd want to be in a room through. Learn not to meet a stranger.
Yes.
Or I can't go because my boyfriend, I got to call and see if he's coming. I told my mother, I said, Mommy, Dionne Warwick is in Atlantic City. I'm going to buy a bus ticket. I'm going there. She said, I just want you to call me. This is when we had to put change in the phone. And I went and I saw Dionne Warwick, and I took those mental
by yourself, right?
By myself.
Yes, yes.
And I wasn't afraid to go backstage and try to get to meet her. And I did, because I wasn't afraid.
Yeah.
I wasn't afraid. And those kinds of opportunities happened all the time because I just wasn't going to let anything get in the way of me getting to what I needed to get to. There was a knowledge there. It was more than fanfare. There was a knowledge.
A yearning to learn.
A yearning to learn and to be there. So if I could get close to it, then I know that I could be there. James Vanderzee was the Renaissance photographer, the Harlem Renaissance photographer. And like I said, Earl Father Hines was on one street. Around the corner was James Vanderzee, and around another corner was Harlem Row, 133rd Street. And I have that history. Do you know what I'm saying?
History.
It's incredible. It's an incredible thing to walk with. And like I said, I love Miss Dionne. I call her auntie even till this day. One of my favorite stories, my most recent stories, I have many with her. We were celebrating the 80th or 83rd birthday of Nancy Wilson, who was a mentor as well. And I had chose to sing Alfie. We get to LA. I get off the plane just in time to get to the place, to the venue. I run upstairs, and because it is a venue where they have, weddings and so on and so forth, there was a bridal suite, so I could change and transform. And then there was this incredible room where there had been this incredible vast dance floor that they had left open. Why? Because earlier in the evening, as we honored Nancy Wilson, there was Debbie Allen's dance troupe from the Debbie Allen Dance Academy. And so there was this great dance floor that had been left open, but now that's done. And I've got to sing to Nancy. And everybody's trying to get their moment with her
Nancy,
and talk to her and, whatever. So I said to the band, I said, I understand y'all are on the stage up there, but I'm going to cross over to the table where she is. And just imagine a dance floor. And I went and stood right in front of the table. And the band was to learn Alfie, but oddly enough, it was done in the wrong key. So there was nothing we could do then. I said, listen, play it how you think it, and I'll fill in the rest. But we're doing this song. As I began to sing it, which it was almost a cappella more than anything else, but shout out to the Jazz Divas. They were really great. And they had been working with Nancy for years and whatever. And as I began to sing, what's it all about, Alfie? I looked, and it's not like I hadn't been at the table earlier before I performed, but here was Dion just sitting there like this.
You gotta be kidding me.
With her head tilted to the side. And I'm going, oh my God, the band doesn't really know all the changes in the right key. Oh, Jesus, why? But she just looked at me like, baby girl, I can hear what's going on. And I'm just going to let you go because you're going to make it right. Yeah. And there was Nancy Wilson and Dionne Warwick watching me. And I was in heaven. I was in heaven. Angela Bassett and her husband was sitting there like, it was just like a whole nother world. Everyone was transfixed. It was an incredible moment. That's and amazing. Those are the things that I just take on as not only great memories, but just they are things that let me know that I'm doing the right thing. And I'm going down the right path because I am next in line to take that baton. Nancy Wilson wrote the foreword for the new CD, Summer Nights in Harlem. When the project is completed, which we are going to do very soon, 8 more songs to the 2 that we have, but to have her write a foreword. Wow. To speak into passing the baton, those things, to have been mentored by the great Dr. Maya Angelou, who told me, do what it is that you do and do it so well that they can never take their eyes off of you.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And every day I wake up with that.
Yeah. Wow.
To do.
To do.
And I have to figure out how to make it happen. Yeah. Now I have to figure out how to make it happen in the midst of a pandemic. Yeah. And in the midst of a civilly unrest world.
Yes.
Not just this country, but the world.
The world, yeah.
But music is a balm. Music is a medicine. Music is a temperature taker. And being in charge of that, having been given the gift of music and song, I am a keeper of a flame. Wow. And I can heal. Yeah. And that's all I want to do. I want to heal. Yeah. I want to touch people and make them go,
yes. What's the flip side of Summer Nights in Harlem?
Say it again.
The flip side of Summer Nights in Harlem.
The romance of you.
Wait until they hear that.
I always talk about people singing at you and singing for you, and we've got all of these musical shows on TV, and these people are wonderful, and I'm glad they have this platform. I never thought that we needed a television show to tell us what an American Idol was, because I was raised with idols.
Yes, they were everywhere.
I idolized Aretha Franklin. I idolized Dinah Washington. I idolized Judy Garland and Barbra Streisand. I idolized Lola Falana. They were my idols. But now we have a television show. And of course, it's based in shock value. And I say that in a good way. Mm-hmm. The ability to show your riffs and runs and strength of your vocal. But at the end of the day, I'm looking to try to make a music that just lives on its own.
Yes.
By the lyric. Let the music meet the lyric. And I don't want to sing at you. I don't want to sing for you. It's like I'm trying to perform for you. I want a reaction. I want to sing to you. You know who we sing to? We sing to our babies.
Yes.
We sing to our beloveds, whether we can sing or not. We sing to the things that we love. We sing to not for and not at, but it's very personal.
Yes.
when someone sings to you,
Mm.
because it's just for you.
Mm.
Rockabye Baby,
Mm.
or any hymn
Yes.
that your grandmother held and sang to you. She sang to you, not for you.
Yes.
And that's what I want to bring back in the music. I want to bring back where I'm singing to you.
Yes.
And it's just for you.
Oh, that's so beautiful. That's so beautiful. That's so
And
beautiful.
we need it right now.
We
We
need it.
need it
Allison, we need it.
in the midst of the battle cry, in the midst
Yes.
of the
We need it.
BLM, in the midst of vote, in the midst of let's make a change and unite as a nation.
Yes.
We need a music also that makes us just live in the moment and exhale and
Exhale.
close our eyes, and
Yes. I
it
was just
washes
talking
over us
about
and
this
makes us
last night.
feel
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. We need
Yeah,
it.
it makes us
Bring it
feel
together.
good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there were times that we had that in all genres. We had an Earth, Wind, and Fire to empower us
Mm.
and make us. We had a Nancy Wilson in the jazz, we've had rock and rollers
Yes.
that sang, "I don't want to wait for this love to be over." That gave us that.
Yes. Yes.
Even in the midst of the rock and roll, we had
Yes.
Tina Turner to love on us. We
Yes.
had in every genre of music, we've had somebody to just make us go,
Yes.
ah.
Yes.
And sometimes we just need the ah.
We need to.
I'm doing it through jazz right now, and I am through a very straight ahead and traditional jazz genre. I
I'm so
have
glad you're there because it feels so good when I hear you and the music, but when I hear you, it's something about you've got all this other stuff that you've done. It is fabulous. Just call my name and all of the hip hop stuff and all of that. But when I hear your voice in there, it is truly hand in glove. It fits. It's so effortless for you. It's like
because
home.
it's what I've always
It's
done.
home. It is
It's what
so,
I've always done. When
yeah.
Russell found me, that's what I was doing,
God.
pretty much. He just, that's not what the dream was. In order for me to
Understand.
get
Yeah,
on a
understand.
platform, I knew how important it was to embrace my R&B and go ahead and take that contract.
Yeah,
But that's what I was. I've
yeah.
always been this. And what I love is my fan base and the people that found me at Def Jam and found me at Just Call My Name, found me at
Mm,
Columbia or Sony. They have now matured to be who we are. So
right,
this is where we are.
right.
We want a music that makes us exhale or
Mhm.
inhale and taking a good fresh breath. That's what we want now.
Yeah,
Do you know what I'm saying?
I do. Absolutely. Yeah.
We have boogied down and boom and boom
And
and
twerk
boom
and
and running
everything.
man
Yeah,
goes
yeah,
through
yeah,
New
yeah,
Jack City
yeah,
across
yeah.
the landscape, and now we've landed in a place. What it's like. It's like every hip hop dope boy,
Mm,
old G on the street.
mm,
And I won't say OG. I'm gonna say G on the street
mhm,
has a girlfriend.
mhm.
And he might want to take her to see whoever is hot right now, if it's a 2 Chainz or a Drake or whoever.
Right, right,
But when
right.
he's getting ready to want to romance her, he wants
There
to
you
take
go.
her to see a Luther Vandross.
Luther
Now,
Vandross.
Luther's
Yeah,
not here right now, but
of
I'm
course.
just saying that kind
Yeah,
of
I
thing.
understand. Teddy
I
P,
meet
Luther
those
Vandross.
people there.
Yeah, yeah,
I meet those people where they want to turn the speakers in the car down a little bit, take her out, buy her some flowers, go to dinner. That's where I meet them. I
the
meet them at that place where you need that. I don't have to be
romance.
all the other things.
Yeah,
All the who. I don't have to be that. I
yeah,
meet you where you need to be met on that level. And I
yeah,
have no rivals there.
yeah, yeah,
I do what I do. Lettucey does what she does.
yeah.
Jill do what she do. Layla
Absolutely.
does what she does.
Yeah.
I do what I do,
You,
and
that's
my voice
beautiful.
and my gift is what it is, and
Yeah.
I'm happy about that. I just want the rest of the world to know. I think there's been a not a limitation, but like I said, timing is everything, and God gives you what you're supposed to get when you're supposed to get it. And now is the time for me to tell the Alyson Williams story, the
Yeah.
history, the journey, and now and then to the future. And this is the time for
And
it.
it's a legacy.
Delayed is
Yeah.
not denied.
Yeah. Yeah.
Delayed is
We
not
check
denied.
check this out. Now, here it is. you've got R&B, you've got jazz, um,
Hmm.
you've got uh, laying the bricks for hip hop. And then in 1982, here
Here
you
you
are.
go.
Oh, I have to because let me tell you, last night was an experience. I couldn't even go to sleep. There was Chic, there was a Change, there was all these groups that I used to like to just. I went to Alabama School of Fine Arts. We would just get on the dance floor. We were kids. We would just dance. We had no money. We had nothing. All we had, Allison, was that dance floor. Baby, that's it. That's all we had. And high fashion. Last night I put that song on and it took me back. I was emotional. I felt all these my friends. I'm wondering where my friends are. You, Melissa Morgan, and Eric McClinton were in a group called High Fashion. You had a song out called Feeling Lucky Lately. We used to dance so hard to that song. I used to pay the DJ. Can you play it again? Can you play it again? Can you play it again? And those were your friends. You still are friends with her to this day. Take us back to that dance moment because now you've touched almost every genre with the exception of country, from R&B to jazz to
And that's
blues.
coming. I wish I could tell you. When I listen, when I let you hear the
You
country
ate that
music, what's
song
going on?
up. You
When
tore that
you
song
listen,
up.
listen, when I get to the country stuff, you're gonna pass out and you probably won't be able to do a show that week. But let me just tell you a little bit of story. Let me give your
Mm,
listeners this story.
yeah.
So Fred Petrus, who is the
Yes.
producer of these groups that were
La
all on
Prince
Capitol,
Fred
and
Petra.
he had like a string. He had the BB&Q band. Are
Yes.
you ready? And I, we're always up the
On the
street,
beat,
and we had
everybody's
Luther. Right,
dancing. Everybody.
everybody's on the beat.
Yes,
They
yes.
had that. They had Change,
Yes.
who was led by Luther
Luther
Vandross,
Vandross, yeah.
and then they had to keep that momentum going once he left, and so Change became another kind
Stop,
of studio
stop,
group, and then
stop.
they put all these people behind it. Lisa Fisher was part of it. It was just great. And then they had High Fashion, so he had a trio of groups on Capitol. Melissa Morgan, as you said,
Mm,
Eric McClintock out of Detroit, who was managed by Dennis Coffey. If you
mm,
don't know who Dennis Coffey is, I want you all to Google him.
mm,
And then it was me.
mm,
I can remember the first time I heard the song. I had friends that were working, they're not musicians, so they get up in
mhm,
the morning and go to work. They started hearing that music on morning drive, and that
mm,
was one of the favorite songs people would play. And
mm,
they'd call me and wake me up. I remember I was living in the Polo Grounds, and I was so excited. To wake up and even though I was tired because I had worked the night before,
mhm,
and just to hear myself, and the lyrics are so relevant today.
mm.
Feeling lucky lately. I
Yes.
can feel this is my time, and I think that I can make it. Feeling lucky lately, though
Yes.
it's still an uphill climb. Got a feeling that my turn is coming around.
Yes.
And the lyrics is such a positive song. If I could re-release anything right now, I would release that,
Ooh.
knowing in my
Yeah.
grown woman world that it's not about feeling lucky, it's about being blessed.
Blessed. Yeah.
It's not luck, it's blessed. But
Yeah.
commercially, it's some
Yeah.
music. This
Yeah.
is a song, feeling lucky lately. But all of these things, I can do it. I can make it. I gotta get a better idea. I gotta get a stronger state of mind,
Yeah.
believing in myself. I implore everyone to go back and find feeling lucky lately. And if it
Yeah.
doesn't make you feel better on the day you listen to it, then you're just numb. I'll
Yes.
respect that too, because right now a lot of us feel that way. But the
Yeah.
way to come out of that numbness, listen to a song like Feeling Lucky Lately. It's
Yeah.
such a positive
It is.
vibe. Russell was putting Def Jam together. And I said, Russell, I
Mm,
gotta go to Capitol. Capitol is not King Cole. Capitol is Nally Cole. Capitol. He said, do what you gotta do. I said, I'm
mm,
coming back. And so by the time I did 2 or 3 years on Capitol with High Fashion, which was
mm.
to me going to the major label, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Then that made it, that they left time for them to lay the groundwork for Def Jam, and they
Mm,
still weren't quite finished. So they put me on profile for a quick minute, and I
mhm.
did a cover of the Pointer Scissors "Yes We Can
Yes, you
Can."
can. Yes.
And then we came back, and then by the time we came back, it was time to do Def Jam and Columbia, and then go on to Sony Music with that music. But that whole Capitol Records thing with High Fashion was an incredible
Yeah.
opportunity. You know what I'm saying? To be in the forefront of a group that had music in the top 10, top 5, and just such a positive song. And you just let me know. We were dancing, we were hustling, you were paying the DJ, play it again.
Play it again.
Great
But
orchestration.
you know why I would go to the DJ? Because we were broke, we were kids, and I wouldn't buy liquor. We didn't want to drink. We needed water to hydrate the body.
Right, right.
But there were certain songs that you wanted to hear because you wanted to escape anything that was going on, from a bad household to somebody doing you wrong,
Relationships.
relationships, everything. So we as dancers were like our own little family. And after we
Absolutely.
would get out of school, we would go down to these disco bars that were open at 3 o'clock in the day. They were
Absolutely.
setting up for the night. And we would go in there and it would be dark on the inside and everything. And you just wanted to get on the dance floor and dance your cares away.
When nobody else was there. It
No,
wasn't even open, really, it wasn't
it wasn't even
packed.
about going there for a
No,
crowd. You were
no, it
just
was
there with
about
your
just having that
friends
moment.
in that moment. But we were going for the music, for the dance. It wasn't going because you wanted to get a hookup. You wanted to hook up with nobody. You just wanted to be free and dance. And that song in particular,
Mhm.
Feeling Lucky Lately,
And
was just,
all of that music,
oh man.
Fred Prentice, for all that he was and all that he wasn't, he snatched a lot of us. He snatched us out of the cellar and the sweet waters. He was just getting us. He had all the best of the
Thank
best.
God for
And
him, man.
oh my God! But what I loved was he and Mauro Malavasi and his other comrades. They were taking. I remember going to Media Sound, which was a big studio then
Mhm,
at 57th Street. Is a landmark place. All the great artists and rock and
mhm.
rollers from every genre, everything. They went through Media Sound. And I remember going, I don't know, it was picking up a check or going to do whatever I had to do. And there was a room full of old men with violins and fishing caps with tackle hanging off of them. And they were
Whoa.
just reading music. Zip, zip, bit. But get, and they, so what Morrow and what Fred did is they hired
Mm-hmm.
real live orchestra players, real live musicians to
Which is why
play all
that
those string parts.
sound,
And
yeah,
it just what you don't know as a layman is that washes over you in a way that electronically produced music can never
you
do.
never do that. Yeah.
So those hits and all of that just made you want to bop, bop, and then
Yeah, baby.
it just
Yeah.
it was produced. It was produced music, and it had a thought. There was a thought that went into it because they thought from that
Mm.
standpoint, and that music washed over you and made you want to, like you said, escape and
You
and get out of your
you
own
couldn't,
space and out
yeah,
of your
yeah.
mind.
It would take over
The
your
most
body.
when
The
I hear
music
when I
would take
hear
over
that
your body.
music now, it
Yeah.
does the same thing for me.
Me too,
And it's
baby.
not just from a
Yeah.
nostalgic, oh, look at the music that I made. It's from a real, I can escape through it. I
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
escape through it.
Yeah. Yes.
I can
Yes.
escape through it.
You and I had a great conversation the other day about the millennials in the music business. Um, what they're writing about, what the conversation is, what's on the radio, and what's not suitable for our kids and our children. How did we get here, Allison? How can we be a change agent in changing the conversation and messages that we're sending to our kids through music? Because right now, there's a lot of information that these kids and millennials are talking about that is going to kill us if we keep going
Killing
down
us
this road.
now. It's killing us now.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is this is what I want to say. I've been working behind the scenes with Bob Law.
Mm,
Bob Law is a veteran in the media, and he brought forth something called Lyrics Matter,
mm.
and
Yes.
and between
Wow.
that and what I had always been taught by Dr. Maya Angelou is you have to learn to be brave, be courageous, and not go down the road that everybody else is going. You have to be brave enough to decide, I'm going to make my way. I'm going to be the best and be lauded as the best, but I'm not going to go that particular way.
Mhm.
I say all that to say there's a lot of music out here, and I understand that every story is not going to be lollipops and rainbows. I get it. I know that we're being killed in the street. I know there's gang violence. I know there's people who come from, drugs and various life experiences. But you have to be brave enough to make a decision of how you're going to tell your story. I'm not mad at Cardi B. Because if I have to be mad at Cardi B, then I got to be mad at Millie Jackson. The difference is,
Wow.
Millie Jackson was lauded and marketed to a very specific audience. And if my 5 or 6 year old godchild had to hear Millie Jackson, they had to sneak down in the basement.
Right.
And hear Dolomite and Fred Sanford, Red Fox, and the rest of them. It was, and then by the time it got to a point where maybe they could hear it, there was a label and a sticker, and yes, we have an amendment, and then that was a big thing with the rap and the whole bit. But we now, what it is, we've lowered the standard. We've pushed the envelope so far. There was a time when we couldn't see Jeannie, I Dream of Jeannie's belly button, and Ricky and Lucy couldn't say they were pregnant. They had to be with child.
And they had to be in separate beds.
I know that seemed right. I know that seemed extreme maybe at one time or another, but now look what we got. Now we got WAP. What is that?
Yes.
And then there's somebody's going to tell you, oh, well, they're going to hear it in the street anyway, or they're going to hear it. Well, then let them get to the street. Why do I have a 6-year-old twerking? What is that?
Yeah.
And her mother, who's maybe 20 years older than the 6-year-old, going, oh, no, oh, Shaniqua, come here. It's almost like they're proud of it. I can't.
It's just sad.
I can't. And I'm not trying to be prudish, and I don't care. It's not about me being a woman of a certain age. I'm 59, and 59 is fine. I'm just saying we have lowered our standard. We have lowered our standard to the point where you want to look around and say, well, why can't the female rapper get the respect? Well, because it's always going to be a double stand with men. And until you pull yourself up, you're not going to get where you need to go. And if not, you're not going to stay there, because the people that own your contracts are who keep you down.
Right.
The people who own your contracts are never going to say to you, listen, man, we made a few $1 million. It was incredible. We had a great, but you know what? You might need to pull it back. You might need to not.
Never going to happen.
It's never going to happen, because you're not talking to their wife when you say the B word. And you're not talking to their daughter when you say the H word. They might let you live next door to them, but you don't talk about them. You're talking to me. You're talking to your brown, black sisters and mothers and aunts.
Deep,
when
Alyson.
You call us the B word. You're talking to us.
Yeah.
You're talking to us.
Yeah. That's deep, man.
And we're killing each other. We're letting the standard. Music has always been a barometer to tell you what time it is. If you look at the 20s and the 30s, it told you what time it was.
Absolutely.
If you look at the 50s and the 60s, it told you what time it was. Look at what's going on in our world right now.
Wow.
Listen to our music.
Wow.
Just listen to it.
That's deep, baby.
Listen to our music,
and
look at what's going on, and then you'll see the coalition. It tells you music is the thing. Music is the temperature taker.
You said that earlier. Absolutely.
It tells you what time it is. We are upside down in the water all at the same time. We can't hardly breathe. And guess what? We can't hardly understand the lyrics of most of the music that we're hearing.
You cannot. Yeah, it's mumble.
We are talking and allowing ourselves to just regurgitate something that, yes, it might be in your soul and you might want to express it, but you got to make a decision of what you want to be in the world forever.
Wow.
I mean, that's just how I see it. I'm not taking anything away from anybody. I'm just trying to say, how can we make it better if we keep making it worse? How can we get better? How can we keep making it better if we keep glorifying what kills us? What is the thing they keep pointing at and say, that's why. Every time somebody gets shot down in the street, it's not about us being a human being. It's like, oh, they had a record. Oh, they did this. Oh, yeah, well, nobody's perfect. Do you know what I'm saying? But you want to call this boy, a teenager was apprehended. He was walking towards the cops with a gun in his hand. If we had walked towards the cop with a gun in his hand, with a gun in our hands, we would have ceased to walk.
Right.
So we have to, in order to change the double standard, we have to stop living it.
Yes.
Or projecting it. I'm not saying being fake. I'm not saying don't be real, don't be that, don't be that. I'm saying be better than that.
Better than that. Yeah.
Be better than that.
Wow. Yeah.
If you can say the N word 10 times, I bet you can find 10 words to take the place of the N word and still tell your story. You just got to do the research. And the research is at your thumbs.
Yes.
The research is at your thumbs.
Yes.
So that's how I feel.
I love that. That was dope. Thank you. They need to, our millennials and our people need to hear this.
And listen, don't worry, because God's going to make it all right.
Exactly.
If you're going to pray, don't worry. If you're going to worry,
don't pray. You kill me with the... Before we leave, Miss Williams, what is it that you haven't done that you like to do? You've done so much. You've done so much.
What do you want to hear first? Well, no. The natural transition that my team, shout out to Gail Monk, Virgil Thompson and his family, and of course, Sandra DaCosta and Angelo Ellaby and all the people that make it happen or are trying to make it happen, who didn't know we would even have to make it happen because we didn't know what atmosphere we'd be in. We are trying to lead the Alyson Williams train into film and television. Yes. Of course, you know about the radio station, WHCR 90.3 FM, The Voice of Harlem. And I have a show, Love Notes with Alyson Williams in the Chill Zone, that airs on Tuesdays from 8 to 10. But we are really trying to turn that over into television. I'm working with Crew TV, which is part of the Bull Lion Entertainment, as well as We Women's Entertainment and Lowell Beasley. And there's a couple of things in the works. There's a reality-based TV show, musical in how it comes across in terms of the scenarios, that really shines a light on what it's like once you, like myself, have had music in the charts, continued to have a career, and now you're up against the pandemic.
Yes.
How do you keep the balls in the air? How do you keep your career going? What do you see for the future? And we're going to talk to so many great performers, the new ones. I love that. The veterans. Yeah. And even those who have found the struggle to be a little bit too much to take on, but they're going to let me shine a light on it. So I love that. I love the vintage, Broadway, all of that. I believe this. I believe that film and television is what makes you a star. So if I really want to go where I'm trying to go and use the music as a platform, it's going to be film and television, and of course Broadway. So there's nothing that I don't want to do in terms of where when it comes to the performing arts, and I'm headed that way. Well, I still have good tight skin. And nobody can't see it. My booty is there. She goes. The booty's supposed to be. And when it hits the ground, it's over. That's why you still have these currencies to use. You're so beautiful. You're so beautiful. I want to thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you for having me. Thank you so much. Everybody, thank you for joining us tonight right here on The Mike Lee Show with the one and only Miss Alyson Williams, and we will see you next time. Thank you all for joining us. It's my honor. Thank you. It's my honor.